Well, we know where we're going, but we don't know where we've been.
And we're live. Well, not really, because you'll listen to this at a later date. But welcome to Flyer State of Film. I'm your host for the night, Joe, or Chindango on Twitter, if you know. And we have a very special Flyer State of Film for you tonight. And that's because we're going to be honoring the sweaty one, the king of the sweaties, Jon Schnepp. Now, we all of us have a personal anecdote to tell of Schnepp. It's a hard time for the community, but he was the best, and he was amazing. And I'm going to introduce everyone before I tell my part, and it's going to be a episode that we're going to try to live his memory not just tonight, but every day. But tonight's going to get extra sweaty. So first up, I got TJ. How you doing, TJ?
Pretty good. What's going on, man? Just hanging out, enjoying this, and hope we can make some people laugh this episode, and also honor the king of the Schwets.
To my other screen, I have Yusuf.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah, I'm ready to, talk in a horrible accent and sweat along with everybody here. Just talking shrimp.
Yeah. And then finally, but not least, Brian.
Oh, thank you for that beautiful introduction, Joe. Yeah, this is a sad time, especially you lose a talent, you lose them young. But also, can we just talk about how great it is that Jon Schnepp embraced the sweatiness of nerds? Like, I think that's a thing that there was a secret shame about that for a long time. And I know many a time if you've been like me, you've been into a Comic-Con booth and you get trapped in a corner and the smells are really piling up. But you know what? Like, he leaned into that and he's like, let's just embrace it. Let's just admit it. Let's buy some speed stick and we'll just all work together on this. And that's the real legacy of Jon Schnepp, I think. If we get to anything tonight, is sweat.
It's all the sweat. Now, what I just want to share, I don't know about you guys. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Jon Schnepp at New York Comic Con in 2015. And so myself, even with the X-Men shirt and whatnot, I'm a Nick Cage sweaty. I'm a dork of Nick Cage and movies, and that's more than like comics. I'm not really anywhere your levels. And I strictly almost went to New York Comic Con on a Thursday. And if you know anything about cons on Thursdays or the start of them, they're just like trade shows. Like, no one's really there to do anything. I went to just see Jon Schnepp and buy a Blu-ray of The Death of Superman Lives, which I had already seen. Already saw the movie. And we got there real early, me and my girlfriend. And the way, I don't know if you've watched any videos, and the way Jon Schnepp describes sweaties going, yep, I just need the next toy. That was me walking up to his booth of like, oh, hey, it's you. And I had like this like really pleasant exchange, but like I was awkward of just like, and it was early, and like Holly wasn't there yet, but you knew everyone knew him. Like, people were already coming back, and it was like, oh yeah, she's coming by soon, this and that. I'm waiting there. I'm like, oh, hi Schnepp, can I have a Blu-ray? And I was like, yeah, I got you a Blu-ray. And then I was like standing around waiting for I was like, can I get a photo? And then we got a photo together, and then I just talked to him about Nick Cage. That's what I wanted to talk to him about. Not Superman Nick Cage, just Nicolas Cage. And we're like, yeah, he's the best and this and that. And he's like, yeah, recently he hasn't been doing as well. And I was like, yeah, he's put out some things, and like for the most part, maybe this year not one or two. I even watch all the straight to DVD Nick Cage films.
Oh, that's
yeah. Look at Brian's.
You've committed, son.
I do. But and I was like, which one wasn't that bad? And I mentioned Joe, which is a really great movie, and if you haven't seen it, please check it out. Has a young Ty Sheridan in it. But I mentioned The Frozen Ground, and he was like, yeah, Holly had seen that. Maybe I'll check it out. And it was just a really cool exchange. And he was doing that head nod thing, too, that everyone's mentioned. But that was my experience with Schnepp. And he was a genuine dude. He was a nice dude. But the most part that you picked up from watching him on those like Collider or AMC or whatever was, he wasn't just like a movie pundit, which a lot of there's people sometimes just think, oh, they're pundits. He wasn't. He was a fucking artist.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that I thought about when I was thinking about like obviously I never interacted with him personally. Greg, I'm gonna crack my beer. Sorry, I'm just getting thirsty here.
So let's do it.
Jon Schnepp.
To Jon Schnepp, Flyover State of Film. Let's crack that beer and let's get sweaty.
To the kid.
But I was thinking when we were talking about, he was one of the first people who like kind of legitimized Collider and like I guess AMC. I didn't really start watching Collider, like I barely caught the tail end of AMC, so I didn't watch a lot then. I'm more into when it became Collider and stuff.
Same.
He was one of the first people that like, along with like Scott Mans, who like legitimized those guys a little bit in my eyes, where they didn't excuse me, they seemed less like just guys on the internet and more like, oh, like these are people who are working the biz, but also come on this show and treat it like a real thing. You know what I mean? And Jon Schnepp was definitely one of those people because I'm a huge Venture Brothers fan. Like the way people feel about Rick and Morty, that's how I feel about the Venture Brothers. And so like, knowing he worked on that show and Metalocalypse and like you said, a legit artist, comic books and so on and so forth, that gave him a like air of credibility and legitimacy. But then the fact that he was also just a big fan of things and he wasn't afraid to like ever show how much he loved something. So he was awesome.
I bought for that Comic-Con, I bought season 1. I'm so upset I don't have it. I bought season 1 of Metalocalypse.
Sure.
Timed. And I even bought it's a black DVD, but it's matte. So I bought a black silver Sharpie for that, sure. And I left it.
Oh.
So I still have the Superman Lives thing, but I'm like, man, that would have been so cool. I remember tweeting out that morning. You're like, hey, can I come by?
I ordered my Blu-ray. I do have the Blu-ray of Superman Lives also. I ordered the signed one, but I didn't get to actually meet him and have him sign it in person, which would have been a much better experience.
Yeah, they were pre-signed when you got them, but still, it was...
But still, you got to meet the man, too. Yeah,
like I said, it was really pleasant, and you could tell, like, even when you could, like, early, he was waking up, they were setting the boots up. He still put the time to talk to you, but for the other guys,
like he just rolled out of bed anyway, though. Like he had that like permanent, full-on scruff look. Because I was watching Death of Superman Lives, and I was like, it's great because interview to interview, he'll go from like full beard to goatee and chops, but he's always got enough stubble in between that it still kind of connects it anyway. It's like he basically has a beard even when he trims it down.
Even when you like, it's crazy because you get like with me for Schnepp, I was introduced from watching Screen Junkie movie fights, seeing Christian Harloff, following him onto Collider, and from there your eye just kind of goes straight to Schnepp on the panel every time, and like just him being actual like person. And his first episode of Collider Heroes, I remember he would ask for like Twitter questions as he would, me just being me in comic book movies. I was like, do you think that Howard the Duck deserves another chance? None think anything of it. And I watched the episode that night, and like one of the first questions he asked is that, and like everyone on the panel, from John Campea to I think like Jeremy Johns, everyone just kind of like get out of here with stuff like that. But he's actually like embraced the question, was like, how that could actually work and stuff like that, and just like him doing stuff like that, and also like just having random conversations on Twitter with people who like weren't being trolls, obviously, and just he embraced everybody from all walks, and from Metalocalypse to ABC's of Death to like I watched Space Ghost Coast to Coast when I was even younger, and realizing he wrote on that, I'm just like, this is insane.
I love
like
Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Yeah, he was all over the place, like not over just these like comic book things, and like just seeing the outpour that this guy reached from Henry Cavill to obviously Kevin Smith, and just saying like that thing when we talk about this film later, like seeing my two, and like when I say heroes and guys like that, it's like guys that I think like me that don't really care about what other people think. They just want to do their thing. Like I want to do that. Kevin Smith did that with Clerks, and Jon Schnepp did that with this movie and other things, and just being on the panels, and like if he sees something he doesn't like, he's not going to play up to the camera. He's going to give it a rat face, and like that's how it's gonna go, and like that's like that's how you do it. Like that was the one guy that you went to every single time. Like everyone else on the panel was great all the time, but Jon Schnepp really brought either that just awake, eating his like breakfast in front of the thing, or he was on fire and snapping and doing his little things that he was doing, stuff like that. Like Schnepp was the man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing the outpouring at Comic-Con was really great. I mean, it's a horrible thing that never should have ever happened, but like it was nice for a lot of the people that they were all there together to like, I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, but like they at least had each other. They were all kind of experiencing the same thing at the same time, trying to like balance this real horrible tragedy that happened with the like responsibility of the biggest thing of the year for them, and they're all like struggling at the same time. It's crazy, but like, and then seeing them like play the trailer for Death of Superman Lives, like all over Hall H, and like you said, all the outpouring from celebs and stuff who had worked with him and who had met him and been interviewed. I mean, it was really awesome.
For me, it was kind of like a weird realization, because I've only knew him from the documentary and from Colliders. So once he passed away, I kind of started digging into him, because I just liked him in the panels and all that fun stuff. And I grew up watching Venture Brothers, Space Ghost, and Metalocalypse. Like I would get dressed in the morning, like eat cereal or whatever the case may be, and catch Adult Swim or Cartoon Network, whatever was playing. And I like that he was kind of like my morning alarm clock almost, along with Dragon Ball Z. So it was kind of like it was like losing somebody that you didn't know was with you this whole time. So it was kind of weird, like realizing like he was part of my life all along.
Yeah. One thing I really liked, and someone had, I think it was on the Heroes Memoriam they mentioned, and he also wasn't a geek gatekeeper at all.
Right.
It wasn't in his vocabulary, and that's why I mentioned earlier. It was like whatever. That's where the term "sweaty" is so good. It's like whatever you want to sweat about, just sweat about it.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's none of that. Like, oh, I was into it before you. This, that, and the other. Everybody discovers the thing they love at their own pace, and just because you found it after me doesn't mean your love is any less strong for it. And like, yeah, he like really, and I think it resonates a little bit more even because he's from a little bit older generation who was part of the first internet nerds, basically the people that started Ain't It Cool News and stuff like that. And they have a tendency, that generation kind of did create that gatekeeper kind of mentality. So to have him be such an opposite of that and be so open and like that, he's just really great, man. What a great guy. Goddamn.
If you just looked at him, right, with Brian, piggybacking on what Brian you were saying, you would think like, oh, you're the comic book guy from The Simpsons. I mean, but he wasn't, in the sense that comic book guy's a fucking asshole and condescending. You know, right. I mean, interest-wise,
Jon Schnepp was the comic book guy at your shop, he wouldn't condescend to you. He would like give you 10 different things to read based on like a very personal like inspection of you as a person. He would be like, well, based on this 5-minute conversation we had, here's 10 comics that I think would really speak to you. That kind of
the problem.
Some of those videos he did on Collider where he would go with celebs like the comic book shop, they talk comics. They only did a couple of them. They were so good. I don't know if they just didn't get a ton of views or something. They were really cool.
Yeah, the problem with a lot of YouTube personalities is like they become like a caricature or a character that they think they have to play, and I never saw that in Jon. He like stayed. It was just him with the cameras on or off, and you can clearly see that, as you know, everybody just talks about him like he was just a real person that just happens to have a camera in front of him, and I really appreciated that.
And also like the fact that he was always and was still creating, and like Holly, man, just talk about strength. Like my goodness, just seeing what she's been able to. Wow. But she was saying, like everything that he's been trying to create, like she's gonna still do her best and do whatever she can to get those out. And like that guy never stops. Use that
creating. As a way to kind of like be near, feel him in her life still, and continue that work will help her kind of work through, losing it. I mean, that's what you have to hope, because like God, it's just I can't even imagine. Like that's just such a terrifying thing, and like I say he was of an older generation, but he was only 51 years old. I'm not in no way implying that like he is.
No, we understand
that
what
was
you mean.
way too young. It's a terrible tragedy.
We
should. I do want to segue into talking about his work though, because I don't want to spend the whole time just being sappy and sad.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the movie a little bit too. So let's gear into that.
Let's. You want to go right into the movie?
Well, I mean, unless you want to talk about some of his other stuff more specifically, but I just thought we pulled an audible. If anybody listened to last week's episode, Joe had blessed us with a pick, and Jon Schnepp. Of all the other great things he did, he also saved me from having to watch Death at a Funeral, and we made it so that we could watch The Death of Superman Lives instead.
Listen,
no Death of a Funeral.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Let's just dive into it, and we'll get to our topics afterwards.
That's perfect.
All right, I think that's a good idea too.
I think,
and honestly, I think we would have gotten to this documentary on the show at some point. And it's funny that we had literally done a documentary a movie and a documentary last week that you would put right next to the shelf of The Death of Superman Lives.
That's true. I think
it's true. Yeah.
What impressed me most about this documentary is the amount of people, both behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, that he was able to get for the documentary, and all the artwork and all the production notes. It was a very impressive, well put documentary in terms of like he got everybody on board to talk about this potential movie that never happened.
Yeah, it makes you surprised that he didn't get Nick Cage. But if there's so many people in there, you almost expect in the last 5 minutes of the movie for Nick Cage to come in. Mm-hmm. But I guess that's what happened with John Peters. And I like the idea. I didn't realize, I hadn't watched this feature since I bought the Blu-ray, but I didn't remember that he recut the film.
Yeah.
Once they got the waters, and that amount of effort and care to be like, instead of just dumping that interview on the end of the movie, to go back and cut it through and put the relevant stuff in and recut his whole movie that was damn near done. That's very impressive.
Yeah,
it was. Sorry, T, I'm going to cut you off because it was impressive because the interview kind of dictated the flow of the movie in a sense that he would say something and then he would cut to an interview that he had previously.
Rebuttal.
They were just talking shit about him, which is just hilarious.
I think what also why it's such a good documentary. It's a documentary that I think if you're not even into movies about movies, you still watch that documentary and enjoy it. And I think that's because a non-documentary filmmaker made the fucking documentary and a fan.
Yeah.
And a fan. One thing I do remember from my booth meetup is talking about it, and he was like, "You got to watch the special features," because I was talking about how much I want to see the more making of it. And he was like, "Yeah, the original edit of the film had way too much technical shit in it. It was less about the piece and interviews, and it was because Schnepp was more interested in the art and the technical of it.
Yeah.
Right,
and
being
Holly,
a behind-the-scenes guy himself.
Yeah, and Holly retooled it to be this is how it has to work. You gotta read that.
She pulled out the actual story.
Yeah, the drama was, I mean, the artwork was impressive and it was beautiful. There was some artwork in there that I was like, that would have been awesome to see it on the big screen. But the drama behind the scenes, with the producers, with how Batman and Robin ruined their production, how they chose Wild Wild West over them, how they kept the leaked photo of Nick Cage in the suit. It had a lot of drama plot points that moved the story forward, which was very good.
It's such an interesting just vessel that they get to, because any movie it failed, and this one actually, like you're saying, it has this weird drama to it, and there was just so much put into it. And it was at a time when comic book movies weren't being made that frequently, so they're putting all this heart and love and thought into these things, where now I don't think you'd get a story like this just because we pump them out every fucking year.
That's true.
Especially with Tim Burton behind the camera after he got kicked off Batman Returns so late in 96, right when this was done. So you get Tim Burton gets the reins, and you get Kevin Smith, who's coming off of Mallrats, was critically kind of no one liked. So it kind of had this weird.
I like Mallrats.
I love Mallrats. But I didn't see it in '96. I saw it later in my life when I was in high school and doing other curricular activities and stuff like that. It's like '96.
Saw it when I was in high school and saw it in '96.
I saw it at the age of 10. I didn't get any of the jokes, but I thought it was cool.
When Tim Burton
that like group together, Burton, Smith, Cage to make a Superman movie, and then you throw in John Peters, it's just like you're just literally taking 3 decent minds at that time and then taking this this so-called hammer and throwing it right in there of this guy, and he was just like, Superman can't fly, I don't want him to fly, I need a giant spider. Like, hold a minute, like, geez, like that stuff. I like that.
Did you guys see the Evening at Kevin Smith thing before this?
I've heard it.
He talks about that. It's the very first one, the first DVD he put out.
Yeah.
That was back when I was still a huge Kevin Smith stan. I like Kevin Smith a lot, but like back then I was like, I saw Dogma in the theater. Like I was there. Like I was on that shit. I was listening to those commentaries, and that came out, and I remember that story and just being like, damn, that is crazy.
Well, I find it funny that Tim Burton was like, he read the script and he's like, don't talk about this bullshit script. He's fired because he didn't like it. But as soon as John got into Burton's mansion, and I saw Burton sitting, I was like, of course he's wearing fucking sunglasses. It's like it's the darkest room I've ever seen in my life, and he's like,
everything is black in the whole room.
I was gonna say, like,
sunglasses on.
It speaks to the character of Schnepp, because who else? Because they were saying like Tim Burton didn't want to talk about this at all, and like he like agreed to an interview, then didn't, and he's like, all right, finally, let's talk. And it's set, and you can see even that, as they say, like how uncomfortable, and then he just eases back when Schnepp starts talking to him. He starts like, it just goes, and also like what Yusuf saying, you got all these people.
Because he got
Schnepp, man. It's all him. Like that guy, he went out and probably just networked like he did with this Blu-ray network, and people are just like, I got to get in with this guy and talk to him for this, because it just goes to show.
Was it me or was the Kevin Spacey sequence a little cringeworthy? Like that's like the only part of the entire document I went like,
you know what, Yusuf. I'm not following that movie for including.
No, it's not his fault. I mean, we can't go back in time, but he's like doing Christopher Walken impressions, and I'm like, I don't care. Can we get to the cool stuff?
Oh, you guys didn't hear? He's canceled.
I'm gonna make the Christopher Plummer joke. Just put him retroactively in it. Everyone makes it.
Joe, as much as you're a Nick Cage fan, and you and Schnepp sweated over it, do you really think he would have been a good Superman, honestly?
Yes, I do, because at that time, you got to think of the time period it was in. That's Con Air, Face Off, Nicolas Cage.
But you're putting him the suit looked cool in that final thing.
He would have
hair.
He would have been like, they would have worked in the lighting and whatnot of the film, but it would have been like a Michael Keaton situation where you're like, that doesn't work at all. If Michael Keaton was never Batman, and we were just saying, hey, Michael Keaton's gonna be Batman even today, you'd be like, no fucking way.
Do you know what I like? Tim Burton said something about Michael Keaton that I really liked, and that the reason why he casted him is because he looks like somebody that needs to dress up as Batman to be intimidating. And I was like, yes, that's a great point.
I like that.
And I think Nick Cage, though, I think they would have had a really fun. I mean, it would have been a weird movie. That's all part of the doc, but
well, that's what I was going to ask. A similar question was like, based on the whole, you get a lot out of this documentary, and there's some different iterations, but like they kind of. Do you think had this movie gotten made that it would have been any good?
It would have been interesting.
I'm going to say something weird. I think what Yusuf said.
It seems like it was too ambitious for the era. I was thinking CGI and shit, that would have bogged it down.
Or they would if they took everything they had in that, and you had made it in like 2011.
Oh yeah, I can get into that. Absolutely.
At the time,
even when they 2006, when they made like if it had Watchmen level of effects, like
kind of what I was
2009,
thinking of.
2006,
Yeah.
it would be fine. But I think if they tried to make it in the late 90s, like looking at all the, I mean, it was just like I said, I think it's just too ambitious.
Okay.
I think it either would have been we would have gotten a dumbed down version of that, or it would have not. It would have been just too much.
It would have been.
They gave it,
But then again, Starship Troopers came out in 1996. So
What's what I'm saying? Like Fifth Element came out in '97. Like if it had a sci-fi fantasy vibe, it could work.
TJ was going to say if it had this like what I always was picturing with it was the use of the practical effects and everything, and they would have been done correctly because that is Tim Burton when he still cared.
He will do an atmosphere very well.
It would work real well, and Nick Cage would not have been the problem.
He nailed Gotham City so well.
But people don't realize about Nick Cage, and you'll hear this for the rest of this podcast, is he for the most part is never the problem in the movie. He's giving it his all and doing his take, and he's the most interesting to watch on the screen, even when he might be the problem.
How did it get burned?
Here's what I was thinking.
I had the Wicker Man in my head. No, yeah, I get it. I think.
Look, I love Gone in 60 Seconds.
Nick Cage gives 110% every time. Kal-El. He would have had Clark. He would have had the best Clark Kent. Yeah.
Tim Burton's Clark Kent kind of scares me though.
He would have been the best Clark Kent.
It would have been.
When they did that Edward Scissorhands, that Superman version of Edward Scissorhands, that little drawing. I was like, see, I don't know if I want this guy to direct a fucking Superman movie.
Like fantastical creatures and stuff, I can get with Tim Burton, minus the big eye stuff. But like when it comes to like human, like because I think Edward Scissorhands and just like the neighborhood he did with that movie was one of the best things ever. You know what I mean? I like my hands, all right?
Do we think if he'd have gotten a chance to do this movie, I mean, at this point, Depp had already done Edward Scissorhands. And this would have been before Ed Wood, though, right? So do we think if he'd have done this Superman movie with Nick Cage, there's a chance that Nick Cage would have become the Tim Burton guy and done all those Tim Burton movies instead of Johnny Depp?
That would have been amazing.
Right? Like, but then you get Nick Cage, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You get
I'm
Nick
down
Cage,
with that. I'm okay with
Alice
that.
in Wonderland. Nick Cage, Sleepy Hollow. I could get into Nick Cage, Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow.
Nick Cage.
If you replace Nick Cage, wow, Brian, that's actually
Brian. You just actually just pitched things you weren't trying to.
That's a great idea. If that would have happened and Nick Cage would have became Tim Burton's movie guy, wow, a lot of things could be different.
But to answer.
Does it mean that he would have also become an alcoholic and beat up a Scarlet? Like, does he completely take over Johnny Depp?
Oh, you mean does he take over his whole career trajectory?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well,
I don't think so. I think he's just, instead of going broke with his tax shit, he just keeps making money with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
The movies still vary in quality the way they have with Depp, but because that's like on a directorial and idea level, so you're not going to be able to change that just by switching out the actor. But
what are the ramifications though? Would we have lost Fear and Loathing and Pirates?
No.
Hopefully.
To answer.
Now wait. Let's still take away my Fear and Loathing now.
I'm saying.
Donnie Brasco. I need my Donnie Brasco.
I need my blow. I need blow.
Oh yeah, you do.
Oh, I got you, buddy.
To answer your question though, Brian. I'm going to say no because this would have been the Nick Cage's Superman is after would have come out after the Tim Burton relationship with working on Edward Scissorhands.
Before or after Ed Wood? I think if it's before Ed Wood,
it would have came out after Ed Wood. Ed Wood's I believe like 96
because Ed Wood can't be Nicolas Cage. Ed Wood has to be Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
So maybe not. But I still think we could have got some interesting things out of that.
I would love for them you know what? I'm going to save my Nick Cage for a later date.
Yeah, Ed Wood is 94.
I was going to say, should we wrap up? Do we need to say anything more about Death of Superman Lives, or should we wrap up a memorial tribute?
But
have you guys been to Pittsburgh and that building that they were talking about? I've been there, and we're
not that building.
Yeah, I was standing in front of that building, and my wife literally said out loud, like, "This is like a billionaire evil villain. Like this would be a perfect layer for a villain. And we were watching the documentary together. And she's like, I could be a Hollywood producer. I called it.
At least a location scout. I mean,
yeah, location scout.
The best location scouts from Lord of the Rings. So, hands down. Who hasn't seen that yet? Is that Joe?
I've fallen asleep through the first 4 Lord of the Rings for the last, 15 years? It's been a thing.
Yeah. But
Ridiculous.
The Death of Superman Lives, what happened probably is one of, I mean, I'll put Dr. Moreau up there just because of how fun that was and how, like,
I think this is light years better than that documentary.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying about, like, because I don't watch documentaries too much. It's from, like, the Spielberg, if you want to say, like, the Andy one with Jim Carrey. I just recently watched Robin Williams. I'm actually going to talk about another one in my topic. But, like, as of that, like, seeing a guy, the Sweaty King, like Jon Schnepp, with these people, and you see the people open up to him, like, you have 45 minutes uncut of John Peters and, like, all the Kevin Smith stuff. Like, it's a Blu-ray you actually got to, like, get and dive into. Like you were just saying.
There's a lot. It's definitely
So
well worth it if you get the Blu-ray.
What I want to leave everyone with you guys for the Death of Superman Lives and Jon Schnepp part of it is what you said was get the Blu-ray, watch the special features, delve in, explore more of what fucking Schnepp did. Be weird, be us,
Get sweaty.
But you don't have to fit a mold.
Yeah.
Like fucking
also
are
be
complete,
inclusive. You know,
some of
like,
us are fucking
open.
complete nerds, and some of us are complete bros who also are nerds. Yeah.
Also,
me and you, TJ.
Also, hopefully the GoFundMe
will
be linked below.
Link that below. Absolutely.
Yes, in the link below. If you haven't yet, please donate to help his medical bills.
I'll put the link for the Blu-ray in too.
Yeah, to help and the Blu-ray, and show Holly and Schnepp and their.
If you're listening to this on audio, though, that stuff might not be in the link. You might have to jump on YouTube to get those links.
That's
guys.
okay. So no one's seeing my wiener right now. They're just hearing it going. But TJ, what is your topic, buddy?
You guys always start with me. So I was talking about like documentaries. I just watched the Freaks and Geeks. I'm gonna go TV with this question for you guys and get away from the movies for a little bit. So I was watching a documentary that came out on A&E. Me and Joe were watching it. And
we both watched 2 documentaries together recently.
Yeah, we've been doing that. And it's all about how Freaks and Geeks came out and was canceled after its first season and then became a cult phenomenon. And like even watching that and seeing how all the actors were even like, I'm kind of glad it got stuck on that one season, because even like Busy Phillips, who played the bully, I can't think of the name right now, but the bully freak girl in it, she was like, could you imagine like going into like season 7 of Freaks and Geeks and seeing where these people go and like seeing that they just became like cigarette smokers sitting on the couch because it only happens in Michigan, because it's in Michigan or something weird like that. Like what shows, and I have one in particular that I think is going to do this and really just hammer out, what shows do you wish would have been for each of you specifically would have been one season, or maybe a one that only lasts one season that you maybe only wished went 1 or 2 more seasons? And for me, I kind of feel like Stranger Things was perfect as it was. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Stranger Things season 2, but like even me and my buddy were sitting there watching the new teaser for the 3rd one. They do like the 80s mall thing. I'm just like, okay, they're just really hammering the nostalgia. And I think eventually by like season 4, I think the writers do have good things with the characters and stuff like that. But I think it'll go like farther and farther.
No, 4 seasons is all you want for Stranger Things.
I've heard 5 too.
But I think if it would have just stopped with 1, only got 1. What for you guys?
I know this isn't, and we're not on a Stranger Things topic, and I'll answer your question here, or I'm going to pass it off. But I think Stranger Things, if it wasn't so popular, the later seasons are going to be better seasons. I hope every season is great, but I know what you meant by season 2. Like I really loved it and really enjoyed it, but you saw those shades, and a lot of that was like stroking its popularity
so much,
and that's okay and good for their success. But I know what you mean. But circle back to me. I want to hear what the other guys' shows would have been that they either what was it, TJ? Seen, gone, or canceled, or
like you would have.
Which way do we want to go? Because I can go either one. Like one that was canceled too soon.
Either or, yeah.
Well, I definitely let's start out with I think what was your question. One that got brought back that I think would have been better left as just its original run was Family Guy. I think they should have just left Family Guy, the first 3 seasons that came out on DVD that everybody loved. That was perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just leave them wanting more and then go on. Just think if he'd have only done that and then gone on and made American Dad without there also being Family Guy. Yeah. American Dad actually probably would have been funny because they wouldn't have had to use all their A material in Family Guy, and then their writers are writing like B scripts for American Dad, or he could have gone on to do anything else. But I just think that that's something that really got run into the ground, and it would have been just kind of like a perfect little bubble of entertainment left to its own device.
Yeah. That's an interesting choice. Definitely agree with that. I mean, those first, you could say 4 seasons, but 3 seasons of Family Guy are perfect. Yeah. There's they're 3 really bad good episodes.
They felt fresh and everything like that.
And they're rewatchable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Which I never found with a lot of the new stuff. I was on the bandwagon. I had those DVDs. I wanted there to be more. It came out. I was excited. But I never felt it hit the heights. And also it was one of those things where it was I didn't feel the need to go back to it the way I used to go back to the first ones and stuff. So
I think I have up to season 5, just because I was or 6 maybe, because I was used to buying the DVD. And then and like you said, you don't go back and even put the DVD in season 5 or 6. They probably look nice too. They're probably in such good shape, and those old ones are burnt, cornered edges and beat up and missing a disc because they were left somewhere. But that's an interesting choice. Yusuf, how about you? What's a show?
What was the question? Sorry.
If you could
you.
if you just had because I was saying Freaks and Geeks last one season. If you had a show that you wish would have only lasted 1 season, or would have went past that 1 season that they've got, any show you would.
I would have died. I would have killed for just Frasier to never end. I would just want a live stream of
See, I think Frasier falls off after season 9. I think 10 and 11 are getting pretty weak sauce. When Gene Smart starts coming in and stuff, I'm not hot for Gene Smart.
Just Frasier Crane making coffee,
Daphne's mom,
a big brother.
Daphne's mom.
Big Brother stream where I can just see every single time Martin just walking with the cane. I don't care.
Can we talk about shows that are perfect as 1 season or as what they are and never need to be retouched? Because I think the British Office is like that. The UK Office, the original, is a perfect bubble like that.
I need to watch.
I know
that.
Ricky Gervais did that movie on Netflix, the kind of David Brent movie, but
I would say Sherlock.
I just think that's the British shows know how to do it. They give you just enough, and then they take it. They leave you wanting more.
Yeah, I would say Sherlock season 1. Then it's it was a perfect
the Cumberbatch one.
Yeah, a perfect Sherlock and
what was that the first 3 episodes or something?
Yeah, after that they started writing up their own asses and
I felt I had to when the I am Sherlock thing. I had to go. I was I'm done with this.
Yeah, it's too much.
You might be the only one to watch Westworld in this.
I've seen the first season. I haven't seen season 2 yet.
First season.
I haven't seen season 2.
I have not watched yet, but I know first season is any show.
I like the first season.
Any show that's any show that's high concept like that though, and not character driven, it's not gonna fucking last 6 seasons and do whatever you need it to do. That first season of Westworld's I think really good, and it ends and
what?
You should always be wearing that.
But True Detective is another one.
They're
anthologies.
Yeah, they're anthology, so you can ignore the second season.
My answer would be something I just want to see continued, and it's more of a cancel too soon. Did anyone watch the? Weirdly, I'm talking about HBO shows. The last three. Anyone watch the show Hung?
With Thomas Jane.
Yeah, I remember it, but I
really
never watched it. No.
It was a good show. It was a funny show. It had its point.
Know nothing about that.
Really, it's the only show I've ever watched. It had like 3 seasons, 3 or 4. It ended on the most dramatic cliffhanger where you could tell they were going to go more like drama and like someone died, and that's not a show where people die. Like a murder. And then the fucking canceled.
I wish Dexter would have
Tom
ended.
Jane's dick get murdered?
And no, see, yeah, that's always my number one. Because I got it. I wish Eastbound and Down had one less season.
You're a big HBO fan. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just naming HBO fucking shows, but
it's cool. HBO's cool.
I used to like a lot of Dead Like Me, but that's kind of like
Dead Like Me was
I
great.
like Dead Like Me, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a good show.
I've never got.
They had a follow-up movie.
Yeah, and it sucked.
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah,
Dead Like
Me was good. You know what was a good? I'll bring up it only had 1 season, and it was a sitcom, and I watched it because of Netflix. Sons of Tucson. That was a fun little sitcom.
Now, Pushing Daisies is another one that I like too.
Who was in Sons of Tucson?
Oh,
that Charlie Hunnam guy.
No, Tucker and Dale. Who's the heavier one? The one that's not the
guy from Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
Is that who it is? The heavier one from Tucker and Dale.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think he was just in Super Troopers 2, wasn't he?
He was. He was
on that show with Ryan Gosling about the boat that's his high school. I think so.
Oh, I'm not familiar. He was the lead in it, and it was Malcolm in the Middle. It was a shit sitcom. It was a straight sitcom, but it would have been a nice sitcom. That's all I'm saying. We're missing good sitcoms, guys.
I think the Dwight spinoff from The Office could have been good. I would have watched some of that Dwight spinoff.
Did you also like Joey, Brian?
Yeah, I watched some Joey.
Joey.
This guy was just saying have all Frasier all the time. So if I want my Dwight show.
You know what was great? The
Sipping wine.
You know the show Episodes on Showtime?
Oh, with
Matt LeBlanc with Joey.
Yeah.
The ads for it were the ads just with papers in it and him looking older than they put out for Joey. Like it was the same shot, same shoot and everything. He was just older. It was the same promo as they put out for Joey.
That's good stuff.
It was fun. It was like him in a pool.
We'll end my topic with saying that Dexter should have ended with the Trinity season. Trinity season.
Give it 5. Give it 5.
Dead in the bathtub.
When they kill the wife.
So you gotta do the John Lithgow guy. You gotta have John Lithgow.
No, guys, give it season 5. You could have had a good send off of season 5, but the Trinity Killer was its peak and the best one of the best seasons of any television show ever.
Yeah, that's all I got.
I'm with you on that, TJ.
Thank you.
Good one. Good job.
Brian
or
Yusuf, what's your topic?
Raise your hand.
I have a weird one then.
Go for it. Get weird, baby.
I was watching a horror movie recently, and I saw one of my favorite tropes, which was a guy or girl getting to the car, and they try to open the door, and the keys fall to the ground because they're too nervous.
Yeah.
So what TV or movie trope is completely ruined by technology right now?
Oh,
because right now most people just have the beeper, so they would just go. They open it with the beeper and they open the door. So that trope about
you can still drop the beeper though.
Yeah, you open it from far away, Brian.
My mom's car has that like fingerprint thing, so if you see my mom, just cut her hand off and you can have her car.
I think that the fact that one of the worst for me is, okay, I get the whole like being in the middle of the woods, you don't have service. But in a horror movie, and a phone runs out of battery, no human being today has a phone without some type of charger at some point, once a phone hits like 45%, someone's like, I need a charger now. Like that, today's society does not survive.
Plug it in out in the woods in Jason Voorhees' cabin.
Those battery pack things. They do that thing in Small Soldiers where they take the chip and they put it in the back of the phone. You're good. I'm going to bring that up in every episode now. So like that shit, a dead phone does not happen that often. Like in these horror movies. And if not technology...
You're right.
You know what's my favorite though? My favorite trope that can't happen anymore.
No, you already had your topic.
No. I'm gonna add to this one because
I don't have one. He can do this for me. This is for me. Yeah. This is mine too.
All right. I'm always carrying Brian. So that you're with your girlfriend or your wife and the phone rings and you say like,
boyfriend or partner,
let the machine get it. Let the machine get it.
Yeah, there's no such thing as that.
And there's like a horrible message that just ruins the date, or they break up because of the message that's coming into the machine. Like nobody has an answering machine anymore. At least
a horror movie.
The idea that wasn't even a good trope when answering machines were around. The idea that you would play your messages in front of somebody that wasn't like you don't play your fucking messages in front of some girl you're trying to pull. Like that's ridiculous.
Also,
it happened in Frasier, in Friends, and countless sitcoms.
Everyone always had a really cool song with an answering machine message, so people normally hung up before it ended. So
you're a loser.
Everybody just trying to get dollars.
I always hate how people don't say hi and bye. Not really a trope.
Oh, again, the movie, like there's just no.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, no, 9 o'clock, 7 a.m. We need tissue paper.
Do you want to know what horror movie used technology the best? Hush, that Netflix like hour-long one.
Phenomenal.
That way they use technology in the computer and all that stuff in that little thing, that was great. But if we're going non-technology, if I see this one more time, so it was like a big trope, and now everyone's trying to untrope it with the trope, which makes me fucking even more bonkers. It was the old one where you do the bathroom mirror where it's open, you get your medicine out, you shut it, there's a ghost, boom, pop. Now they're doing the whole, like, they set you up for it, they shut it, there's nothing there, and then you turn fucking left, and boom, it's right there. I don't want that anymore either. Just no more bathroom mirrors, all right? Just break them all. Can't do it. That's not technology, but mirrors are technology to me because science is crazy.
Technology, I think at one point it was just such a crutch. Not a crutch. Something that you could do fun with and work around to write a better way to do it. Now it's just a crutch.
I think like The Conjuring did these type of scares the best. Is like it's weird. You rewatch that movie.
It's based in the 70s though.
What's up?
In the 70s though.
Well, I'm saying like not technology. I'm talking about like just scares. Like those tight room scares. I don't like. The Conjuring does something well where they do these big pans of a room and you catch like a little ghost kid in the corner or like an old body just standing there staring at somebody. I love those big wide spans.
It's funny that you mentioned that because for me, one of the scariest fucking moments of any. I'm in my bedroom now, so this is gonna. Any fucking
alone, of course.
Dude, behind you.
The wall. The scariest.
A ghost was coming through the wall.
Is in the first Conjuring that you mentioned, and it's when the little girl, they're sharing the room and she's like, she can fucking speak. It's dark in her room and she's put in the corner and the girl's like, I see nothing. And they go back to that like 2 or 3 times in that shot of nothing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you just see something like crawled in the wall like a Spider-Man. And it's like real quick and fast and they scream and they all fucking see it.
So Brian, you didn't like that?
And that's the most fucking, to me, that was like the most realist moment of like being a kid because you're like, typically like, my eyes are playing tricks on me, but you're freaked out and you're pretty sure you're seeing that.
E.T.
No, I think the scariest
that was for me
sequence. No, I think the scariest sequence in a while was in Mother, when everybody just came uninvited and started eating her food and just like sitting on the countertops, and you're like, "This is my
That
house.
was awful.
The sink.
That's
Just
awful.
get out of my house." All right, I'm
But
done.
just know that when I shoot a horror movie, I'm using all of these tropes, and I'm gonna just dig them. I'm just gonna fucking bury them into the ground.
Listen, Mother is brave.
I did not see Mother. I saw.
Who cares?
No, I haven't seen Mother, so I don't really care. Yeah,
You know
I
what?
don't
Alright,
plan
Brian,
on it
what's
either
up?
because I don't like Darren Aronofsky so much.
I liked it. That's fine.
I like
What's
you.
up, Brian?
What? Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah, Brian,
You're
go for it, baby.
All right. I thought of this question yesterday when we were talking about Will Ferrell.
That was this morning.
I was that this morning?
Yeah.
I don't know time.
Nice.
Oh.
Last night into this morning.
I don't
Brian
know
is senile.
times. I started thinking about I'm a big sketch comedy guy. You know, I love like Kids in the Hall. I'm wearing my Kids in the Hall shirt right now.
Oh, you are?
Mr. Show, Upright Citizens Brigade. But I think like most people like me, you cut your sketch comedy teeth on a Saturday Night Live. You know what I mean? Like you get into it. It's like you're finally allowed to stay up late and stuff. And that's kind of like one of the first things you get into. What Saturday Night Live alumni, any season, I don't care, any person you want to pick, is the most successful? Now you can gauge this on their legacy from the show, their work after, how they've been perceived overall in comedy. So I'll take any cast member from any season. Just who do you think is the most successful and why?
I'll go first because I'm just gonna cut my teeth on this one. For me, successful wise, and also one of my favorites. Even though I know I have two of them. One's just a quick one. This one I'm going to talk about now. I like him. I know everyone thinks he's an asshole. Chevy Chase. To me, next to John Candy and maybe one other guy, he's a quintessential movie guy. Dad. Like as Clark Griswold, I grew up with
Absolutely.
all the Vacations. Successful, sure. I mean, maybe he didn't do everything that all these guys did, but for me, successful wise, just popularity for me. So I'm just going.
No, like I
straight
said,
to
I'm interested in any whatever you deem
Yeah,
the
he
reason,
was just-
whether it's his legacy or just a few high highs that just stick with you. I'm fine with that. I'm interested in how people see it.
all Vacations, like from
But European Vacation, really?
even still. Yeah, I love the fact that they changed the kids.
European Vacation, Vegas. I don't even watch the Ed Helms Vacation.
And European Vacation has what's his face from Cobra Kai dating Audrey.
Oh yeah, he's got
the
like a
daughter.
cameo.
Yeah, and every time they do a sausage,
Johnny Lawrence.
I miss Jack so much. European Vacation is so good. And also
Billy
Vegas
Zabka.
Vacation.
Billy Zabka.
What's that?
Yeah,
Billy
Billy Zabka.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Caddy, I'll stand for Chevy Chase just on the basis of Caddyshack. Like that's an
Yes.
all-timer for me as far as comedies go. So I would throw down with that.
And even watching like the I can't think of the name, the feudal jester. Someone help me out with that one. But that little weird documentary about how lampoons came in and seeing Ian McHale play Chevy Chase, like just seeing like
Oh yeah.
it was pretty cool. Like just that. Like I know Chevy Chase is known as an asshole right now, or is a crazy fuck, as most of our
That
guys.
was a great movie. I can't think of the name of it right now about the
Just-
lampoon.
Oh,
That was a really good one. It's on Netflix.
Fate Frutal something.
Yeah. Feudal jesters of something, but even just him in the
Stupid
concept of time machine.
futile
We're doing a
gesture.
great job recommending here, guys.
A
Well,
stupid
yeah.
futile gesture.
Oh, and then my second one is Pete Davidson because Ariana Grande is fucking gorgeous, and that's it.
Yeah, you know what?
fair enough.
This show's canceled. This show's canceled. I mean, she's a smoke, but like,
This is mine, not yours. So go for it.
I don't know.
Ariana
Most
Grande.
successful. I'd have to. So most success. My favorite and most successful are so different because my favorite's Phil
I'll
Hartman.
give them both because one's successful for you, and then one you can like deem your more traditional. There's enough
Okay.
cast members. We probably won't be stepping on each other's toes that much.
It's Phil Hartman.
Oh,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Phil Hartman.
Yeah, for this, especially for this episode, every skit Phil Hartman was in he just brought this life, and he was always there. And a lot of times he played the straight man. And more importantly for me, I mean, it was him on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's something
My wife got me really into news radio too. That's a solid sitcom. If you like a good workplace sitcom,
I do.
A fucking amazing cast on that show. Like everybody from that cast has gone on to do better. I mean, even Joe Rogan.
Phil Hartman was this very much like Jon Schnepp. Was this just beam of light when you saw him in things, and even in bad movies like
the one with Sinbad.
All the way.
House Guest.
Oh, that's so good.
Jingle All the Way. But House Guest, and they sing the Big Mac song together.
Yes.
And he's like, it's kind of a pretty racist movie because his best friend's black, but Sinbad shows up and he's like, well, I guess you're all friends for
look the
years.
same.
And but sure. Even in Small Soldiers, which has been a popular topic here.
Oh yeah, Jesus, yeah.
He plays the jerk off neighbor.
Jingle All the Way does the same thing. Yeah,
he's the same character.
Yeah, I wonder if they're in the same universe. Wow. They could be in the same universe.
Absolutely. Every movie where he plays a befuddled dad is all a shared extended universe. So you have like Jingle All the Way, House Guest, Small Soldiers. But there's ones we're not even remembering.
It sucks on the Simpsons, where I think his legacy even shined more than SNL, is the Phil his like a character like a Troy McClure. Or a Lionel Hux, more than Lionel Hux, is they filled it with Gil. Yeah. You know, and Gil's not any of those
Gil's
characters.
Just not as good. One of my favorite t-shirts, it's one of those things where you spend too much to buy a t-shirt online just because you love it and you're like, I don't care. Sure, $30 seems reasonable for a fucking t-shirt. It's Troy McClure as Taylor from Planet of the Apes from when he was on the stage show, and it's just like him standing there with his arms up in the air. Yep. And like when I wear that shirt and I get people who are like, is that Troy McClure? Like, that's you're a true deep cut Simpsons nerd.
From chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
You're
going to make a monkey out of me.
So that was your love pick. Do you have one who's
my love pick? Like, the most
successful?
I think I think in who you brought up first, I think it's Will Ferrell of just the level of, and probably even Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell, and from the fan bases they've garnered to the money they've made, whether you like them or not, they're that successful and they have that core audience. Like
what pisses me off about Sandler is like he could make like 10 like just dirt shit movies in a row, and suddenly he like makes one good one, and you're like, where the hell has this been all along, dude?
Sandler's talented.
Just try, man. You've got it in you. Just try.
But also, like you're saying, he's successful. He's got the moolah. It's like if us four got together and like, let's just make a movie about like Brian. Hey, you're a hairstylist that gets in 500 fights, but it's a comedy. No one's gonna buy it, but we have the money to do it. We'll probably sell a decent amount for our hardcore fans, and we'll still have fun shooting it and get super stoned doing it. Not that you guys smoke, but that's what Adam Sandler and all his buddies do.
Well, Sandler, I think Sandler, the thing that happened with Sandler, which happens with a lot of comedians, and I'm not trying to stick up for him or anything, is he put himself out there, and his fan base, his fan base didn't respond. Not even his fan base, but people didn't respond, and they were like, be the funny man, do this, and poked him. And I think he just got fucking
Rain on Me destroyed, dude.
Yeah.
So good. And by him. His performance is really good.
And I think that's just what happens with a lot of these comedians that try to branch out.
Will Smith did it.
Yusef, you got a pick? You got a pick
here?
Yeah,
Yusef.
You got a dog in this race?
Yeah, I'll read some of his lines for you guys. I make him an offer he won't refuse, Joker. I have nipples, Joker. Could you milk me? Never rat your friends, Joker. Always keep your mouth shut. Never got me down, Joker. You hear me? You never got me down. I'm kidding. All right, no.
You got nipples?
I got nipples.
You fucker.
I mean, I guess since everybody has chosen two, I'll also choose two.
De Niro was on.
Yeah. No, he probably was a host. So Robert De Niro is like my heart choice, but my logical choice are Eddie Murphy and Bill Murray. So Eddie Murphy, growing up, like he was like my go-to comedian.
yeah.
Like I was like obsessed with him. Like Beverly Hills Cop, Trading Places, Coming to America. Like he, Naughty Professor. He was just like pure fire. Every single time he just
Hilarious and raw, so good.
Boomerang.
I'm Gumby, damn it.
I'm Gumby, damn it. Like he said,
Ice cream. We got your ice cream.
You ain't got no ice cream.
Oh.
I still think about his stand-up bit. I was from Raw, where about the haunted house, and it's like, get out. All right.
It's just, I mean, for a long time, like he was Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like for 48 hours, like he made that movie, and he was like, in the sequel, he got even more money than Nick Nolte, because everybody just remembered Eddie Murphy from that. Like he was that type of actor, and also as Donkey, as the voice of Shrek. Like that was
Shrek.
No, I'm not
Nutty
gonna.
Professor stands up pretty well too.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Like and the sheer effort that he put in Nutty Professor, and also in Coming to America, like that barbershop scene where he plays multiple characters is just like, it's impressive. Like the level of.
But I'll tell you what's an overrated as hell Eddie Murphy movie, and it stars another SNL alumni, is Trading Places. That movie's about two good acts of a movie, and then it's pretty shit after that.
I've tried to watch it like during Christmas and doesn't really go through. Like
I think it's a great movie to put on at Christmas when you have like if you're just doing a marathon and you have people over and it's like background stuff and you're just rotating through some movies. It's perfect for that because the first like hour of it is pretty great. That's the part everybody remembers, and then it gets into the weird like racist costumes and pork belly futures and shit in the end, and you're just like, all right, let's wrap it up, guys.
We do a movie Christmas movie bracket every year at my house on Christmas Eve, and Trading Places never makes it past the first round.
Just get
That's a first round. That's fodder. That's fodder.
But we need bodies to fill slots. So.
Wow, I'm trying to think of how many movies Eddie Murphy played cop, like Golden Child, Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, Golden Child, that's so good.
Yeah,
like
Cop and Boomerang too.
Do you remember? Was it not the Miracle Man?
Yeah.
Oh, that's being
Empire in Brooklyn.
No.
We tied it. We tied it back to our De Niro. I think we should just close the fucking podcast. I'm kidding. Continue.
Oh, the Glimmer Man.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, that's a Steven Seagal movie.
Steven Seagal movie?
He's in that.
No,
doesn't have DMX in it.
No, that's Romeo Must Die. So
I love that movie.
Yeah, the second one obviously is Bill Murray. Like Bill Murray's just a legend. Caddyshack, Groundhog's Day, Scrooge, Ghostbusters. Like it's just on fire, and his past work also, like his acting chops has evolved from just like the comedy dude. He's like Lost in Translation and all his Wes Anderson work, like Broken Flowers is like a very underrated drama from him.
Broken Flowers is a beautiful movie.
Yeah, so I think he's like up there, and also Zombieland, his cameo is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
The movie I was thinking of was Holy Man.
Cool. What about you, Brian?
Thank goodness you brought us back to that.
Brian,
you guys all had some good picks. I'm big SNL fan. Obviously got my big old Belushi poster out. Legacy guys like that, and like Dan Aykroyd, who did obviously the Blues Brothers, and we talked about Ghostbusters.
You guys somehow slipped over. I mean, I said successful. Nobody mentioned Robert Downey Jr. was a cast member of Saturday Night Live and is now, the biggest star on the planet and the star of like every record-breaking box office. So, I mean, notable. But my pick is one more thing I want to say too. We were talking about Phil Hartman. Anytime you get a chance to watch the Phil Hartman collection, the best of Phil Hartman, the SNL, if you get the DVD or you see it somewhere, it's also a great showcase for one of the most underrated ladies of SNL, which is Jan Hooks. So everybody check that out for Jan Hooks. But my pick is Joe on the toilet. He's very handsome. He looks good. His bathroom is clean, and his dumps are tight. So good for him. No. My real pick though is Julie Louis-Dreyfus. I think she is a fucking comedy icon. Now she's gone on to win countless Emmys. Obviously Seinfeld was like a huge monumental show, but she stayed busy. She was on the New Adventures of Old Christine. She won Emmys on that. She went on to do Veep, which is it's in its own right. I mean, so I'm a big fan of hers, and people forget how great she is. But nobody forgets how great she is. They just forget that she was on SNL because the years she was on were either not very good or dominated by Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? So it's all about the 80s, old 80s SNL, and I think she's just so great. She's like my all-time Hollywood crush. She's aged like a fine wine. She's fucking hilarious, and I love her. So
did you see the?
Oh, did I almost see Joe's dick?
Did you see the comedians in cars getting coffee of her? That was
yeah.
cool.
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
He didn't wash his hands.
Ugh.
Oh God.
Everybody's gonna get a hepatitis.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I caught him. But what about like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler too? They're fucking killing it right now.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, there's so many we didn't talk about. Gilda Radner. You can't there's just every.
It's weird. I grew up on like Mad TV first, which isn't great. But
it's like the knockoff. Yeah.
But I was a kid, so it was a little bit like.
Look what I can do.
Well, guys, I don't know what
Stewart's my favorite all time. How do you feel? You okay?
No, I don't know what just happened, but I think there's so many people that passed through SNL. Even look at like a Jenny Slate, like she was on it for about a season and a half, and she never went to the bathroom during her performance.
No, she just said fuck. But my honorable pick is Martin Short too. He was only a season, one season in, and he's like
guest.
Yes. Yeah. They have a lot. They have way too many.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's SNL is such a breeding ground, and a place for talent that we could have a 3-hour.
Kenan Thompson. What?
Yeah, man. Fat Albert was just a.
See Leah Thompson.
Hit.
Kenan Thompson. I would watch a whole show that was just what's up with that. He just like danced at that talk show. I would watch a full-length talk show of him doing that to people. I'd watch it every night. He could do it every night. And I'd be like, yep, Jason Sudeikis just dancing in that red tracksuit, just jamming away in the corner the whole time.
Sudeikis is another one. Bill Hader. I mean, that's
there's so many. Like I said, like it's such a wide open question. And that's why I wanted to open it up too, to like, don't restrict yourself to just financial and monetary success. Like, how do you feel their legacy is held up? How do you feel? I'm shocked. I am 100% shocked that nobody said Chris Farley. It's not that it's because, especially maybe that's a more my generational thing. People who are like my age really hold him. It's like the way Belushi was for my parents, because he died young, and he didn't. People feel that he didn't fulfill his potential. I, on the other hand, feel like his death really helped his legacy because he was already slipping into some not great fare. And if you think about the fact that more than likely he would have been the Kevin James in the Adam Sandler movies in his career right now. I'm not saying I'm glad Chris Farley died or anything, but I'm just saying, like, overall, his legacy was probably helped by the fact that he never got to go on and make more shit.
He recorded for Shrek.
I know they redid the whole thing. Crazy.
So you're not wrong of the Chris Farley, and I think I just love Phil Hartman so much that I picked Phil Hartman over Chris Farley, but he's right there.
No, I agree. I think you're right. I just feel like for so long, like I said, I think it comes from that thing. It's like my generation had their own Belushi, a guy who was huge on SNL, did some fairly successful movies, and then died too young. And you know what I mean? And he got that like kind of grandeur about him that people get.
So on that note, I'm going to go into our last topic of the night.
Whoa.
Which is from me, which is, do you guys hear about that? The current recent events of they're going to make a live action, or not live action, like a CGI'd Rugrats film or live action.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. I had saw a story about it. I didn't know if it was going to be. So it's going to be CGI
CG or live action
to look like the because I think a 3D CGI version of Tommy Pickles would look like the goddamn Elephant Man.
Honestly,
that kid's head is fucked up.
Yo, after last week's episode, I don't think if they did that way, they wouldn't have to redo Child's Play. They could just put the Rugrats
just
out
like
there.
It could be one and the same.
No, but what I really just want to talk about, it's not so much a question, is, and I know what Nickelodeon's doing, but they're bringing back all these properties from the 90s, and I just feel like there was just such of a, especially because I grew up with them, they were such of a certain time that they're not going to fucking work again.
No.
And it's very frustrating. Like recently they put out the Hey Arnold movie, or Hey Arnold follow-up to finish off its story.
They're doing a Rocko's Modern Life with them too, aren't
That's the only one that could work, because there's a couple things. Rocko's Modern Life had that humor. It has that look.
Yeah.
I love Rocko's Modern Life. That's probably my favorite one.
And they still hold up. Like, I watched them fairly frequently.
Oh, I bought the complete series pretty recently, like within the last year.
Same, and they hold up, and they look good. And the difference is the voice actors are adults.
Yeah,
their voices don't change. Rugrats, they have either people pretending to be kids or something like Hey Arnold, children doing, so their voices change and the animation change, and things are just off. Or there's a sense of softness to them, which none of them had. And the one that I really, really don't want to fucking happen is they're making an Are You Afraid of the Dark movie. And people are all like, "Oh, they're getting one of the writers of It to do it. It's gonna be great." I'm like, fuck that. That show was brilliant. There were some brilliant writers on it. Once again, some of the styles don't.
But I feel like you're going to be treading the same ground as like the Goosebumps movie, and there's a sequel coming out to that now. And also I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for The House, The Clock on the Walls. It's another like kids kind of fantasy horror. Like I like, and as a son, having a young son who loves horror shit, who's like obsessed with It, and like is dying for me to let him watch the new It. I'm happy to have like other things to ease him into. Like I want to sit down and watch Monster Squad, but it has too many F words, and I'm not talking about fucks, if you know what I'm saying.
And it's too early. It's too early to teach him to not.
Right, exactly. It's hard enough to get him to just not swear, let alone have to explain the nuance of something like that. Like,
so I guess what I want to bring up is not remakes, because that's the whole thing, is bringing back nostalgia and just doing it wrong. Like, what's something that really just like fucking makes you sweat and pisses you off about like something you're sweaty about?
I can tell you right now, there's only a certain amount of directors that can do 80s well and make the 80s feel like it's the thing. Eventually it becomes oversaturated because you use so much of like pop culture references and stuff like that. But also the feel of fall in the 80s compared to the feel of summer. You know, one thing that people can't get right, which is Nickelodeon is highly based off, is the 90s. People cannot get the 90s right. There's no way people can do it because it's not been far
Sidebar,
enough.
did you guys see Jonah Hill made a movie about the 90s? Just saw a trailer for it like today.
Didn't watch the trailer, but I
didn't watch it with sound. I just saw I saw most of it on Twitter, so I didn't see it with sound yet.
I want to see that. I
was
want to see it because I was
A24.
Yeah, it's A24, and I was I was a skater kid when I was young, so it kind of was like, yeah, this is me when I was a kid.
Sorry, DJ, I didn't want to derail.
No, you're fine.
So on topic talking about here,
because like no one's been able to do that because it's either too far away or now everyone's minds are so advanced that it's Infinity War CGI, and if you do get some type of a timepiece, again, it's A24, which doesn't get a lot of pull or anything like that. Stranger Things, an exception, because 80s is so easy to sell compared to the 90s because it doesn't have enough time. Because like even I remember they did the 70s show, then like right after that they tried the 80s show, and it lasted for like 5 episodes maybe. Like it was just too early. Now, this
shows another show that's ruined for me by having a rapist in the cast. I wish they'd really stop doing that.
Like, yeah, you gotta
quit exposing rapists. You're making it hard to enjoy my sitcoms.
Yeah, let's expose rapists and not expose people for really shitty jokes.
Jeez, and you know that I wasn't like, hey, stop raping. I was like, stop exposing rapists.
It's like
that 80s show.
This is Trump's America. Quit calling people out on their wrong shit.
Glenn Howerton.
Yeah, was it in the 80s show? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really? But like even like that, like all the Nickelodeon shows from Salute Your Shorts to Ren and Stimpy to Pete and Pete. Pete and Pete is the most 90s
awesome
show ever. If they could find someone that can capture that, sure. But like you said, they're gonna go Goosebumps with Are You Afraid of the Dark? They're gonna take 7 of their best stories and make it one giant movie, which makes no fucking sense. They already did a TV movie with Melissa Joan Hart, which was great. Scared the shit out of me for fucking years. Everyone should go back and watch that.
Crybaby Lane?
No, it's like the cold child where the kid with the red hoodie's like, I'm cold outside her window.
That's just an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark. It's called The Shiny Red Bicycle.
Well, I'm saying, like, yes, but even like those episodes, like they're dark as shit because that's about a guy who is a hunter who chases a kid into a hole, and the kid is so scared to come out, he freezes in the hole. Like, Are You Afraid is dark.
Wait, that's not what happened in that episode.
The Melissa Joan Hart one?
We're getting our episodes. This is not the.
Either way, like
Goosebumps. We need to talk about this. Actually, in season 2, episode 4.
Just the 90s don't work right now unless you can get someone that really captures it. So for me, Nickelodeon was pure 90s. It's not going to work.
It's I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't mind you like redoing it, even if they said, "Hey, they are bringing back the Rugrats," and I'm fine with the cartoon coming back. Like, put it back for a new generation. Try to make it work.
Don't make them old. Make them kids again or babies.
I not even make them old. Just don't try to put a fucking movie out and try to sell it to me.
I think the only remake recently that actually like I was like confused by was the Enter the Dragon remake that they're planning to make. Like, that is 100% a Bruce Lee movie. Like, there's been Hollywood.
That's the same reason they shouldn't redo The Crow. Just leave The Crow and just let it be what it is. You've tried to sequelize it. You've tried everything. Just let it go. It's not going to happen.
Does great.
Like you said, it's like a perfectly goth 90s movie. You can't do that again.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree about Enter the Dragon. It's too definitively tied to Bruce Lee. You can't like.
Oh, but did you hear?
It's like trying to make a Han Solo movie without Harrison Ford. Who would be so fucking crazy?
Scarlett Johansson's going to be the Crow. I don't know if you heard.
Ooh, that's actually a great choice. I feel like she could really dive into those certain aspects of characters that most actors these days can't, because I feel like she really can just get the whole I lost myself. I don't know where I was going.
I don't know. It's just weird because Hollywood and even China has been like for years trying to find that new action star, that new kung fu star, that void that Bruce Lee.
Just Hollywood and China?
Just Hollywood and China. Not even those two. They're the only one that matters.
Chan, I mean, come on, don't pretend like Jackie Chan doesn't exist.
I was gonna say Jackie Chan, Jet Li. I'm blanking.
Donnie Yen now to a lesser extent, yeah, for sure.
Tony Yao.
Big breakout.
but none of them like actually filled that
Chugging
void.
fat.
They just kept being compared to Bruce Lee, and now you're gonna literally put a person in the same shoes as Bruce Lee. It's just you're setting them up for failure.
Yeah, I
Ernie
agree.
Reyes Jr. is the only one who could do it. That's it.
Thing is, Hollywood will fucking remake anything they could smell money on.
And it's not even creative, and it's I mean, it just goes back to Child's Play and the same
Enter the Dragon's not gonna make fucking money.
No.
You know that. Like, it's not gonna be a smash hit.
It's just weird. It's a weird pick to remake. Honestly, it's a weird.
Nickelodeon.
But that's all I was talking about. The Nickelodeon. And,
What about you, Brian?
Oh, I mean, everything from my era is getting remade right now. You know, like they just really like
your error, like you're fucking 70
Wait,
years old.
I am gonna be 40
Joe's
years
the
old
baby.
soon.
I'm not. I'm old.
I turned 30.
36. I'm very old.
I'm 31, right? And we're just gonna put it out
No,
there.
I mean, like
26.
honestly, I don't have a problem with them. It's like the remake thing. Like I stopped getting upset about remakes, and it's the same thing with these like reboots or you know whatever new seasons and stuff. If they have an idea and they do something interesting and they have a reason to bring it back, I'm fine with it. Like I'm a old holdover from X-Files. I watched both the new seasons. I watched every new episode of X-Files that came out. Some of the ones that they tried to tie into the old stuff and get that like old mythology in were not very good. But some of the one-off episodes were fucking excellent.
Can I ask you
So
a
you
question
can't
real
just
fast?
dismiss as a whole. You know what I mean? Like there's things that they're good can come from both. So it's hard for me to just like hate on it. I feel like I'll tell you what. Oh, you know what though? I do have an answer. That fucking Heathers remake they tried to do. Oh man, that shit was just straight up trash. Yeah. Oh, good. Phew. I'm glad I got through to hate something. Man, I didn't want to be so positive.
No, Brian, I feel the same way though about remakes and redoing things. Also, like if you have something to say, do it. I don't have to watch if I don't want to. I do feel that way.
That's my thing with it. It's like if it's good, and I'll be happy. And if it's not, I can just ignore it and walk away and just enjoy the thing I like.
Evil Dead remake is fucking great.
It is. It's excellent.
Don't let anyone tell you it's not.
I hate Zack Snyder. Dawn of the Dead remake's dope.
Dawn of the Dead remake is good too.
Awesome.
It's not a good
Just think,
remake.
if we didn't remake, we wouldn't have the new Planet of the Apes trilogy. Come
That's
on.
amazing. And the Friday the 13th remake is actually pretty good. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake, we should just end the show. Because that movie's fucking awful.
Yeah, the Nightmare one's pretty bad. And they had the perfect, like, they picked the perfect Freddy and they still fucked it up. So that's how you know it shouldn't be done.
Could have been Johnny Depp.
New Nightmare is the perfect finale.
Johnny Depp would have been a nice choice.
Nope.
No.
Time.
The only thing that I could see with Johnny Depp being Freddy Krueger is that I think he might actually be a child murderer.
No, he's Freddy Krueger in real life.
I'm wearing this awkward underwear for an hour.
Yeah,
But-
I just slandered Johnny Depp, everybody.
Yeah.
How you like
Yeah.
that?
Go to my Twitter.
Allegedly.
We're gonna get shut down.
Allegedly a child murderer.
Johnny Depp has murdered so many children. Who do you think stars as the ghosts in Pirates movies?
Jesus Christmas.
Allegedly
Stars
as ghosts, but the children were actually murdered.
No, but or have something different to tell and unique. And that's not so much where I was coming from in this topic. It's just more the sense of I want to see these the kids or the younger and like some like your son get shit new.
Oh,
Get
absolutely.
new Rugrats. Steven Spielberg in the 90s called the Rugrats the Peanuts of this generation. And that's what they were. And then
he made Animaniacs.
And then he made
fucking
Animaniacs.
awesome.
And that's brilliant. And I think you could do the Rugrats again, and I'm on board with the TV show of how they're doing it. I just know a movie that they're going to hurl at us is going to be like It wasn't, and this wasn't a bad movie, but like Saban's Power Rangers that came out 2 years ago. You guys think this is
Krispy Kremes.
fucking cool?
Krispy Kremes.
Yeah, and it's like,
I
yo,
like that movie.
I know it's
Krispy
not a
Kremes.
bad movie, but it's like
I like that movie, and I like Krispy Kremes.
it's not a
Krispy
bad
Kremes.
movie, but it's just like it's like make it for the fucking children. Don't make it for me.
All right.
Good episode, guys. I think this.
Anyway, so that's my note on that. Final thoughts. I'm really gonna miss Jon Schnepp's commentary and his art and the things he's supposed to put out.
Yeah, man, the fucking world is gonna miss Jon Schnepp for sure.
It's such a loss, and usually people you don't know don't have such an impact on how you're feeling for a few days, but he's gonna be missed, and it's a voice that's gonna be hard to not hear again. But we know we could watch him. He's always with us.
Yeah. There's endless.
If any of you guys have any final things to say for this episode, please do.
Yeah. I hope everyone enjoyed this. Nice remembrance for John, just talking with three guys I met over the internet, just like I've come across John. It's pretty awesome to find guys like you and guys like John, just people that you can relate to in a million different ways. For the memory of that, for the King of the Sweaties, like, it's awesome that there's so much backlog stuff we can go and find, from just watching on Collider to watching all the stuff on Cartoon Network to watching the movies and stuff that hopefully Holly is able to produce and get back out that he was working on. But for someone who truly was hit and inspired by him, the past weekend has got me to really just think and just create, just want to do things. As of right now, reading the Meg, to get up with my boy Joe to go see the Meg in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll talk about that on the next show. But I'm glad I was able to talk with you guys tonight and just have a couple drinks and just, vent a little bit and just, the whole nine. But yes, guys, TJ Dex, you're on Movie Squad now if you're watching this. So just go through the things. GoFundMe in the bottom. I'm going to get the link to the Death of Superman and what happened. And then also where you can go pick up the Blu-ray. If anyone's listening audible-wise, I'll also leave a voice in a voice message at the end of this where you guys can also get the links for that. So yes, guys, hope you enjoyed the episode. And Jon Schnepp, shit face for you, eh?
Shit face.
Shit rat.
Shit rat.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to add except talk about a guy like if nothing else, be inspired by the imprint that Jon Schnepp left. Like, he left this world too soon, but he left behind art that people can enjoy, that's going to exist, that's going to go on, that's going to live on. And so let that inspire you, and love what you love and be sweaty about. And I have been sweaty in his honor I've had this nice sheen
me too.
on my head the whole time. It's like a gel. It's just like a little.
Yes, Brian. You
So good. Find me at Hercules. And if you're listening to this on audio, also check out my other show, DVD Bunker. And this was a good time. Good feelings, good vibes for Jon Schnepp.
Yes, sir.
Yusuf.
It was awesome, honestly, just talking about Schnepp and watching this movie. It was fun. He will be missed for sure. You can find me at whylovemovies.com, just posting random reviews.
Why
next-
I love movies? What are we watching next? And
that's so watching his documentary really inspired me to watch. Like, I was jonesing for Mars Attacks, so
Nice.
that's our next movie. I really want to watch Mars Attacks.
Ooh, good. Now, I haven't watched this since I did episode 1 of the DVD Bunker on Mars
wow.
Attacks. So
all right, you can
go ahead and do your homework. Everybody go check out on the DVD Bunker. It's either on the Tough channel on YouTube, or you can find us on iTunes or SoundCloud. Episode 1.
I want to give
Very rough. It's a rough episode.
I want to give props to Yusuf, our friend, our co-host, who's gotten published by Leonard Maltin this weekend. That is huge. That is awesome. Don't watch the DVD Bunker, because you can watch me on the DVD Bunker every week on SoundCloud, doing the thing.
You didn't know that's actually Joe's show. He sounds a lot like me. Does a solid impression.
So
next episode, for some reason, the guy who can't speak English is going to be the host, and we can everybody just do your homework and watch Mars Attacks and come back here and just
listen to the DVD bunker. That's part of your homework too. Get those fucking clicks. Get those like and subscribe, you sons of bitches.
All right, guys, stay sweaty.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into this longer than usual but very, very special episode commemorating the Sweaty King. Please like and subscribe, and if you're listening on SoundCloud and you would like to contribute to Jon Schnepp's financial medical bills or anything else like that, you can go to GoFundMe.com/GetWellJonSchnepp fundraiser. And also, if you'd like the Blu-ray or the digital download of The Death of Superman Lives What Happened, go to TDOSLWH.com. Thanks again, guys, and stay sweaty.